Alrighty everybody, hello and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we are back with the tips. Let's just quickly go over, as I always do, how I went last round. 2 out of 9. As you can see here, bottom 99% on ESPN. Yeah, it's probably my worst week of tipping ever. The two I got right were Essendon beating West Coast and Collingwood beating North. Two results that were, I think it's fair to say, they were pretty safe lock-in tips. So yeah, it was a horrific round of tipping, and I mean, at least I know it can't get any worse than that. It wasn't that long ago that I got 9 out of 9. But it feels like a long time ago now. Yeah, it's taken a real turn for the worse, my tipping. But anyway, let's just get on with my tips this round. Alrighty-o, starting off with the Friday night matchup. Melbourne taking on Carlton. Melbourne, they've hit a bit of a... they're not going quite as well as perhaps some people have expected them to. Lost to Fremantle at home last week. Fremantle look very good, to be fair, but still, I think they're starting to look a little bit shaky, but nowhere near as shaky as Carlton, I think it's fair to say. They've lost their last 5, have they? 4 or 5? They got beaten by us, the Swans. I don't know how we managed to win that. It was like we had no key defenders other than Aaron Francis. Like, we just had a completely injury-riddled side. We've been playing absolutely terribly regardless of injuries. And yet, we beat Carlton. So, yeah, I don't know what the hell's up with Carlton. They're not beating Melbourne. I think Melbourne, Melbourne should win this one by a fair amount, I think. I'm going to go them to win it by 43 points. They should get a really nice, convincing victory over the Blues here. Port Adelaide taking on Hawthorn. Hawthorn starting to turn their season around a little bit, won a couple of games in a row. They are looking much more competitive than they were at the start of the season. But still, I think Port Adelaide should get this one done, the job done here comfortably. And if they win this, I checked, if they win this game, Port, then it'll be the longest winning streak in club history, AFL that is. So yeah, a little bit on the line, I guess, because like I said, if they win this, longest winning streak in club history, so I'm sure that that's probably not something they're even worrying about or even know about, but wouldn't be a bad record to break, I wouldn't think. I think they should win this one comfortably. I reckon it'll be a high-scoring match, though I haven't actually checked the weather. It's been raining a lot in Adelaide lately, so it could be a wet match. And I'll go Port Adelaide by 37. Alright, pretty simple tip this one, I would have thought. Let's go... Yeah, you know what? I reckon Collingwood, they aren't the sort of team that would get cocky and complacent about playing a team like West Coast. And though they did look a bit more competitive last round than the Eagles, they're not a chance against Collingwood. Look, sometimes in the past teams have gotten a bit lazy and complacent when playing teams this bad, and as a result they've won the game comfortably, but it wasn't a massive victory. I don't think Collingwood are that sort of team. I think they're just such a well-drilled, well-coached team that they'll take every opportunity they're presented with to absolutely belt the living daylights out of West Coast, and I think they'll get a massive win on the board here. Bulldogs versus Geelong now. This is an interesting matchup. It's at Marvel Stadium. Dogs coming off a loss. Geelong coming off of 3 losses. Most people would probably be leaning towards the Bulldogs because it's at Marvel Stadium, but I'm going to go with Geelong in this one. I'm going to go for a bit of an upset here. I'm going to tip them to win by 15 points. I think that they've still got the quality on their list to turn things around and I believe that they are still capable of turning around, making the 8. Top 4 looking unlikely now that they've already lost the 6 games this season, but I think they should still finish up making finals at the end of the season. And yeah, I'm going to tip Geelong this one in a bit of an upset by 15 points. This is another really tough one to tip. Gold Coast just played a game in Darwin. They're playing in Darwin again, so they'd be acclimatised to the conditions. Adelaide coming off of a great win over Brisbane. They haven't fared too well away from the Adelaide Oval this year, the Crows, and they did just play in a cold, wet weather match. So coming off that and then playing in 30 degrees humid weather, it's not going to be an easy task, and for that reason I'm going to tip the Suns in this one. I reckon they're going pretty well. They obviously just beat the Dogs. The Dogs smashed Adelaide. I don't think the Suns are going to smash Adelaide, though. I think it'll be a tight contest, but the Suns will get it done by about 3 goals. Yeah, I reckon the main reason I'm tipping them, if this was at Metron Stadium, not Metricon Stadium anymore, Heritage Bank, whatever, Carrara, its spiritual name, I'd probably be tipping the Crows, but because it's really trying conditions for a footy match to be played in, and they already played a match there just a week ago, that's going to be my main reasoning for tipping the Suns in this one. GWS taking on Richmond now. This is a real tough one. This is a real tough one. I don't know. You know what? I'll tip GWS. Coming off a really good win against Geelong in Geelong. Richmond coming off of a competitive loss against Port Adelaide. Couldn't get it done in their first game with their new coach Andrew McQuilter, not Andrew McQuilter as I called him last week. Yeah, I think the Giants, they've been competitive. They've been very competitive this year. Some really close losses, and last week was a really good win to get for their captain's 200th game. And I think they'll win a couple in a row because the Tigers simply aren't that good. Alright, Essendon and North Melbourne in this one. North Melbourne in the last couple of weeks, they've looked a little bit more competitive. I don't think that they really will. You know, I'll tip them to lose by 21 points. So they'll be competitive, but they won't. Essendon will just be too good for them, I reckon. But yeah, North Melbourne, they've shown some better signs since Brett Ratton took over. Only just lost to us, and only lost because their interchange counter can't count to 75 apparently. And I reckon against Collingwood in parts they did well to not get completely blown away. They kicked a few goals late to bring the margin back to 6 goals, which, you know, against Collingwood, I'd say that's a pretty good result, to be honest. And yeah, I think that they'll put up another fight, but go down and lose their 10th match in a row. That's not something you want to be doing. Alrighty, so with that all being said, that is the round of tipping done. I got thrown off a bit at the end there because I kind of forgot it was a bye round, a few teams having a bye this round. So yeah. Anyway, the ladder, Collingwood and Port Adelaide on top, 2 games clear of Melbourne and Brisbane in 3rd and 4th. Brisbane haven't played. Brisbane have the bye this round, so they play 1 less game than Melbourne. St Kilda almost up in the top 4, not quite. Adelaide kicked out of the top 8. Geelong back in it. Bulldogs slipped down a little bit. Fremantle, well, they also have a bye, so they don't have an opportunity to break into the top 8 this round. Gold Coast on the 6 wins, 6 losses. At the bottom of the ladder, Carlton have slipped down a considerable amount, having being me tipping them to lose that game, and the bottom four looks more or less the same. Yeah, Richmond in the 15th. Not many people have expected that at the start of the year. Hawthorn, North Melbourne, and West Coast all still lying down there in the bottom end of the ladder. But if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.